your Second Amendment rights have been designated for termination. So come with us if you want to live. This is a lock and load show on gun channels and broadcasting on the interwebs and across the universe. Now let's see if I actually can remember how to mute the channel so I don't hear like everything on an echo delay. Right. So aside from Kamala Harris saying that she wants to reinstitute she's going to give Congress 100 days after she's elected, if she wins, to fix the gun laws in America. And if they don't do it, she's going to, by executive order, executive order, just reinstitute the assault weapons ban all by herself. And that everybody who doesn't turn in their gun to the police station will go to jail. I mean, there's a few things wrong with that plan, like there isn't enough jail space to arrest everybody that owns a gun, even if they could find people to do that. It's like these politicians are like shadow puppets. If CNN or MSLSD was bigger than they are, I mean, I don't think anybody watches them anymore. I mean, it's like I probably have a higher viewership on this show than MSLSD does for Morning Joe or whatever, who all seem to want to blame President Trump for the latest shooting at a Chabad house. The most annoying thing for me on that was when I turned on the TV and saw that somebody had shot up a Passover Seder the last night. The Passover Seder was that the person on Fox News had no idea how to pronounce Chabad. Chabad. It's not Shabbat. Which is how she kept pronouncing it. I was like, where do they find these people? So like a lot of Hebrew stuff or Israeli stuff, it's you got to put that in there. So it's Chabad. It's not Shabbat. There's no such thing as Hanukkah. It's Hanukkah, not Hanukkah. But you kept saying Shabbat. It was just really annoying. But I guess everybody wanted to blame President Trump for that one. God knows why. It doesn't make any sense. They just want to blame Trump for everything. And so if any current event happens, somehow it's his fault. If something goes wrong. Well, I guess that goes with the job being president. But anyway, so I'm just assuming, I guess they're saying that Joe Biden might pick Kamala Harris as the vice presidential running mate if he wins the Democratic election. So, but they're really like shadow puppets. It's like they don't really have any power. But if you look at their shadow, and they're just like standing in front of a light bulb and they put their hands in front and try and be a big scary monster, they are. So a lot of times people are think, well, they're going to take your guns, that they've targeted your Second Amendment rights for termination, and there's nothing you can do. Well, they're big scary shadows they only have the power that you imagine they have. If you let yourself be frightened by them, then be frightened. But they're nothing. They're just shadows. And I think that the Bill of Rights is like to go with the I guess moonshot thing. It's like Second Amendment is like one small step for Americans and one giant leap for the freedom of mankind. Nobody in the world is going to be free unless there's an America, and America's not going to be free without a Second Amendment. So there's just no way that they can do that. Now, speaking of dumb gun laws, Hawaii is trying to be the most retarded libtard state in the union. I mean, although it's got some competition. But Governor Ige, let's see, he did. Let me get onto this page here so I could actually read it at the external chats. Okay, the one that caught my goat the most was Bill 720, which set a one-size-fits-all requirement for gun owners to report lost or stolen firearms within 24 hours, further victimizing gun owners who have suffered a loss or theft of their property. HB House Bill 720 was signed by Governor Ige on April 24th. So there's a legislative action from the NRA link that I posted in the video description if you want to do something. But send a protest letter to the governor, which is what I did. But so basically the thing is, let's say, like in my situation, or let's say you have a medical situation and you have to be air ambulanced over to Honolulu to Queens Hospital. That happened to me once. And while you're gone on another island, some criminal breaks into your house and manages to steal one of your guns somehow. And then like a week later, the same criminal or a different criminal uses a gun in the commission of a felony. Let's say he sticks up a liquor store or something stupid. And it's your gun, it's got your registration on it. So now, even though you're sitting in the hospital in Queens, you're guilty of a felony. Not having done anything wrong because you didn't report the gun stolen within the 72-hour period or whatever. And now you're a felon, and you automatically lose the right not just to buy any more guns, but to own any guns. After the bad guy came in, stole your gun, broke into your house, stole your gun. Now the government's going to come into your house and steal the rest of your guns. So let's take a look at this Bill 170 that they signed into law. Let's see. The legislature finds that Hawaii's existing laws do not adequately address the reporting of lost or stolen firearms. It's a matter of public safety. The state requires permitting of firearms owners, blah, 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 who are properly vetted and meet the stringent requirements to own or possess firearms. Reporting lost, stolen firearms penalties. Every person shall report the loss, theft, or destruction of a firearm that the person owns or possesses within 24 hours upon the discovery of such loss, theft, or destruction to the police department and of the county and the police department where the theft occurred. If a person is unable to comply, the person's designee shall make the report. So the report shall include the caliber of the firearm, the make, model, manufacturer, serial number, any other distinguishing identification marks or numbers. Let's see. Upon a report of a lost, stolen, or destroyed firearm pursuant to subsection A, the county police department shall enter the reported information to the NICS database. Let's see, more paperwork for the police. A person who intentionally or knowingly fails to report the loss, theft, or destruction of a firearm shall, for the first offense, be guilty of a petty misdemeanor. For the second and each subsequent offense, be guilty of a misdemeanor. And for the third offense, surrender all firearm registrations, ammunitions, firearms to the police department. And for the county within the person, which the person resides for within 7 days of receiving notice of violation. So before you get a trial, even, okay? But be prohibited from registering, possessing, or owning a firearm. If person fails to surrender all firearm registrations, ammunition, firearms, the police chief of the county with which person resides or within shall, which any, what does this say? The chief of police of the county with in which the person resides or within which any of the person's firearm registrations, ammunitions, or firearms are present, shall seize all firearm registrations, firearm ammunition, firearms registered to and in possession of the person. For the purpose of this section, the incident involving multiple firearms arising from the same occurrence shall constitute a single offense. No person shall report to any law enforcement agency that a firearm has been lost, stolen, or destroyed, knowing the report to be false. Well, it's already against the law to file a false police report. If a person falsely reports a lost, stolen, or destroyed firearm, i.e., gee, my boat fell out, the gun fell off my boat, the person shall be in violation of this section and subject to the same penalties as provided in subsection D. A person shall not be in violation if the failure to report is a result of an act of God or an act of war. The inability of law enforcement agency to receive a report. To receive the report. Okay, so if Godzilla like steps on the police station, then you don't have to report it. The person who is required to report being hospitalized. Oh, I'm off the hook now. I mean, I woke up at Queens Hospital, and I didn't wake up. When I was at the Recovery Hospital Pacific, I get the paper, and it says that they passed some new law that something about gun confiscation, and yeah, if you've ever been hospitalized, they meant to write a law that says if you've ever been hospitalized for mental problems, then you can't own a firearms, and you have to. So, but how they improperly originally wrote the bill in the first writing of it was anybody who's been hospitalized can't own a firearm. And so I wake up and say, wait a minute, here I am in a hospital and I can't own a firearm because I'm in a hospital. I was just in a recovery hospital for something that had nothing to do with mental problems. And it was like the hospital for cardiac issues. And so that didn't exactly help my blood pressure go down. But the way they write these laws, it's like, this isn't going to save anybody's life, as far as I can tell. And what other dumb bills did they have? Let's see. Introduced by Senator Clarence Nishihara, would raise the minimum age to transport a firearm into the state to the age of 21. By raising the age of firearm importation, the persons who have lawfully acquired firearms outside of Hawaii who are traveling to the state for purposes of hunting, target competition, or even relocating would be discriminated against based on their age and denied their constitutional rights. Yeah, that's another one that doesn't make sense to me. If you're old enough to sign up for the military and be put in charge of like a mortar, a javelin missile. A javelin's a missile, right? Not a rocket. Or some other incredibly powerful military weapons platform. Why can't you like own a pistol or a rifle? Or buy a beer, for that matter. But I think the local gun shop doesn't sell to people under 21 anyway, which I disagree with, but hey, it's not my gun shop. Let's see. And the Gun Violence Protective Orders, Bill 1466, would create gun violence protective orders. GPO would be issued not because a person has been convicted of a crime or adjudicated mentally ill, but instead on third-party allegations. This legislation lacks strong due process protections and contains low evidentiary standards that fall well below the norm for removing fundamental constitutional rights. Just three dumb bills, and I think the governor signed all of them. So I mean, I'm pretty sure that it's like if the Democrats win, they're gonna try and do a bunch of dumb things. But what gives me hope is that this is still America. There's a lot of free people here who just won't have none of it. I mean, if Kamala Harris or if Dianne Feinstein got their dream shot and somebody passed a law that said every American has to turn in all their guns to the nearest police station or they'll be arrested. There aren't enough jails, there aren't enough police, and nobody's going to follow that law because this is a free country. People just, I mean, I'm sure some people would do it, but pretty sure the overwhelming majority of gun owners law-abiding gun owners just aren't going to consider that a constitutional law or just come to the conclusion that unconstitutional laws aren't laws. And if Kamala Harris was to be elected president and try and do it by executive fiat, which is the problem I have with the whole bump stock ban, which I don't know if anybody heard the NRA, went to the NRA. I think Scribb said he went to the NRA. But I was watching it on C-SPAN, not on any of the news channels. So I could actually hear the people in the background. There was one or two people before the president came on complaining about the bump stock ban. But that's the problem, is once you start doing things by executive order and not having Congress pass a law, then other people get the idea, well, let's see what else we can do. Let's see what other laws we can enforce without actually passing a law that has to be enforced. Just let's do what we want without going through the trouble of passing a law and getting people to agree on something. So anyway, I'm going to take a look at the externals out there, see if anybody's typing in the externals. Squibb was Oklahoma can't make it tonight. He's got a bad back, and so I hope he gets better quick. His back was giving him some problems. I think Squibb is driving home. I don't think he's made it home yet.
Yeah, I'm home.
Oh, you're home? Oh, welcome home.
Yeah,
Let me check.
I got my phone on the Hangouts, and I'm using my desktop to do the live chat here.
All right. Corsair Trainers made it on. I saw he started doing some live streams. That's cool. Let's see. So I'm going to take a quick run through all this text here. Oh, man. Negotiator. Squib made it to the external. Jesse James was in earlier. Steve D. Yeah, Prescott was a really nice place. I enjoyed my time there. I liked Whiskey Row, of course, and but I like the higher altitude. It was like hot down, driving up, but when you get up to a few thousand feet, it gets a lot cooler, and it was very nice. We almost had some roadkill running into a javelina, which is kind of, if anybody knows what a javelina is, you don't Google it. But it basically just darted, going back to the vacation rental from the Safeway down the main street of Prescott. It darted in front of my dad's, what was this kind of car did he have? A Grand Jeep Cherokee. Yeah, we just missed him by like 5 feet. But I really like that they have great restaurants. I mean, if you visit or move, I mean, it's like they got great move there. They have great restaurants, and so I guess one thing you have to know is if you go there, you can't say Prescott. You have to say Prescott, otherwise people will get angry. So
yeah, it's just like it's not Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I can't say right, Lancaster or whatever. You have to it has to flow. It's just like up here. People see Lake Orion, but they say Lake Orion. You can instantly tell they're not from Michigan. So.
All right. So did you say, and did you let me know earlier that you had actually been to the NRA convention?
Yes, sir. I was there on Saturday.
Ah, what did you see?
I never made it to the second floor, but on the first floor, I walked most of it, and everybody says it's big. I didn't really think it was that big, but it's definitely. When I do this again, I'm going to give myself 2 days to go around. But I saw more exhibitors than I thought I would. I mean, stopped and talked to them and stuff like that. I thought maybe at best I'll get to see 5, and I lost count of how many I talked to. I walked the floor for 7 hours.
And that was just one floor, awesome. Not 2, right?
Right. I don't know what was on the second floor. I mean, part of it was getting together with other Gun Channels members. We all got together in the press room, and well, most of us. And there were some people that were in Friday and not there Saturday, or were people that come in on Sunday that weren't there on Saturday. But the majority of people were there on Saturday. So I missed a few people that I didn't know they were going to be there, or they said they were going to be there and I never saw them. But the majority of us, we got together for a group photo, and then we all kind of went our separate ways. And then it was almost like work. It was really business. I know people were shooting footage for their channel, and some people were talking with some of the vendors, working out this and that. Some of the bigger channels have more, they're more businessy, and when you get to a certain level, that's what you start to do. I actually got to the very first booth I went to was Henry, and I actually got to meet the customer representative that I've been dealing with, and we got to meet face to face and all that. And she showed me the new side-loading Henry rifle, and that was really good. But it was really, for both of us, it was really good to put a face with the name, because we've been corresponding back and forth by email, and just excellent customer support from Henry. Well,
I have to say about Henry's rifles is don't send them an email talking about slide fire. They won't like you.
Slide fire has nothing to do with Henry rifles.
I know.
Well, I don't get it.
All right, I'll explain it to you in the after chat. I'll explain it to you in the after chat.
The next one I went to was Loophole, and talked to the guy, and I told him, I'm not an optics guy. I want to put a scope on my Henry for hunting. This is what I'm doing. Blah 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 blah. What do I need? And I showed him an email that I had sent to Loophole on a previous occasion about this, and I said, well, first I said, the guy's name was on there, the rep, and he goes, is this guy here? And he goes, no, but here, I'll hook you up with his boss. So he drags this guy over here. He goes, talk to this guy. So I show him the email, and I say, hey, this guy says this is the scope I need for my rifle. And I said, do you have one of those here so I can take a look at it? He goes, I don't, but I actually have a very similar scope that's actually cheaper. I'm like, okay. And he, gave me, and I said, look, I don't know crap about optics. So he gave me the whole overview on how it works. He explained to me, gave me some pointers for mounting it on the rifle and everything else like that, and just went and let me record it all, so I would have it, so I could go back and look at it. So I kind of left that exhibit knowing exactly, having the information I need. And after I get this, then maybe I'll be more of an optics guy, And then from there, I did a lot of reloaders, and went to some AR-15 manufacturers and AR-15 parts manufacturers. I talked plastics with a few manufacturers because they do injection molding at their plant, and I'm an injection molding guy now. So I did a lot of shop talk. It was really interesting.
Loophole has a really nice a thermal optic that I saw on Sportsman's Guide for less than $800, and I was like amazed, because the FLIR stuff costs way more.
Well, I'm just looking to get just a basic scope. What the guy told me was most people get a Loophole as their second scope. He says first they'll get a really cheap scope first, and then once they get their loophole, then they realize how cheap their first scope was.
I went
And
straight to loophole.
and I told him, I go, no, I want an American-made scope. All your stuff is American-made. And he says, yes, everything is American-made.
But
And
the lenses are made in China, but they hand select the good ones out of the batches here.
oh, okay. Well, what he told me was that the one I was getting was very basic. It's entry level. It's actually it's similar to the version that the guy emailed me, but he says it's actually a little bit cheaper. And for what I'm doing, it'll be just fine because I'm not doing this precision ultra 1,000-yard blah 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 shot. I need something for 200 yards or less that'll fit on that Henry and that I can use for hunting deer. And that's really all I need. And as far as the setting up the scope and stuff, doing the windage and elevation is a lot like doing the windage and elevation on a rear sight on an AR-15. So, I'm good to go. So.
Yeah, I love my loophole scope. It hits everything I aim at. So all you got to do is get the distance right to account for the bullet drop, because mine's on that CZ 527 and 762 by 39 has quite a bullet drop. That's all I can say.
Well, I can pretty much build the scope out the way I would my sights on a rifle, with adjustable sights. So it's just a matter of getting to the range and just doping it just right for the load that I decide to use. I talked to a bullet manufacturer there too about my hunting load that I used last year, the one that I made versus the factory one that I used later, and he told me to stick with it. He told me to stick with the little concoction that I made up for that first deer I got. So, but then I talked to another manufacturer about using self-defense ammo, and they actually had a hunting line, and they recommended that as opposed to self-defense ammo for hunting. So it's like, oh, okay, I wasn't even aware of that. And I tried to focus on different ones. I only went to one knife manufacturer that was a CRKT.
Okay.
And the only reason I did that was because I got a CRKT knife for my oldest son as part of his graduation gift. He's getting a few different things. And
you didn't get him a katana?
No. But I let him pick out a knife at Spartan Arms in North Las Vegas, and he picked out a Ruger CRKT knife, and I said, this will be one of your graduation presents. So when I went to the vendor, he hooked me up with a couple of stickers to give him, and then he showed me a tomahawk they had, and that was kind of neat because, my oldest son, he's got I put a target in the backyard for him to throw knives and tomahawks at. So he was saying, yeah, we've got that sort of thing. And he showed me a few, but I pretty much didn't go to any of the outfitters for, hunting and guides. I didn't go to any of the food stuff.
I never practiced throwing a tomahawk in my life. It looks like fun, but I mean, I don't like the whole idea of like throwing a perfectly good melee weapon away with one shot. I'd rather just smash the bad guy with it instead of because it's just like once you throw it out there, then what's the next thing you're going to do if you just threw away your weapon? But I don't know. Just a different way of looking at things, I guess.
Well, I went to Delton and I asked them when they're going to have some of this stuff that I've been trying to get for like 4 years back in stock, and they didn't have an answer for me. And I don't know if you know Ben from Classic Firearms, the guy that owns Classic Firearms. He does the YouTube videos for whenever they have a shipment of guns.
I mean, I bought stuff.
You know of him. You know of him though. Have you ever watched any of the classic Firearms videos, YouTube videos?
I used to, but I get so much spam from them. I mean, unless there's something I'm really interested. My problem is that when they have something that I'm really interested, their phone is just ringing off the hook, and I can never get through to buy anything. And I can't buy it online because of like Hawaii has because of the different laws for Hawaii. And it's just like, so we have to call I tried buying something online once, and I had to call. They said, "Well, you have to call in," and then I couldn't call in, so I was like, "Oh, shit."
Well, I used to go online and buy stuff from them, and I didn't really have any issues. But once they started putting videos on YouTube, suddenly it's like everybody figured out who they were. It's like prior to that, I guess unless you paid attention, you didn't know who they were, and nothing was ever out of stock. And then as soon as they start doing commercials on YouTube, suddenly like mainstream, everybody's going, "Hey, let's buy from Classic Firearms." And next thing you know, I can't get anything because it's always out of stock. So I went right up to the guy, "Hey Ben, hey man, I got a question for you. Why are you always out of stock? I mean, I understand, you get on YouTube and then suddenly everybody knows who you are." And I said, "But, I used to be able to just buy anything from you, and now it's kind of a pain." And he goes, "Yeah, I know it's a terrible problem for you, but it's a great problem for us." And then he just sort of blew me off. He handed me off to somebody else, and he bailed for the food court. I'm like, "You asshole." But you know what,
Well,
though?
he was hungry. I mean,
Yeah,
when
whatever.
you work at a convention, it's a grind.
But the thing is, though, I'll still buy from Classic Firearms if they've got the product I want for the right price and it's in stock. But that's the biggest issue is now that everybody knows who they are, just I don't. Nothing's ever in stock. It irritates the crap out of me. Don't put it on your website without a stock. And some stuff they've got on their website, they haven't got a shipment of this stuff in like 5 or 6 years, and they're still showing it on the website as out of stock. And it's like, why? Why? But as soon as they get something in stock, they make a YouTube video, and in a matter of minutes, they're sold out. They could have 1,000 of these things, and they're gone in under 5 minutes. It's unreal. So I guess I understand. It's a business. That's how they make money. That's they can't just be like, well, we'll just stay exclusive so Squib can buy stuff whenever he wants. But that's what I'd really like. So. I
Well,
always said if I could talk to the guy, I'd be like, "Hey, dude, what the fuck?" So, and that's what I did, and he blew me off. So,
it sounds like he was hungry. Wanted to go to the food court before you even
yeah,
walked up.
yeah.
Anyway,
He
so
was hauling ass for the food court, and I mean, I talked to some general managers and owners of companies that were there. It's funny, the guy that does the one of the guys that does the Brownells ads, the older gentleman. There's two guys that do the Brownells videos. The older gentleman, I can't remember his name. He was there and he was handing out swag, and it's like, dude, you look like you're the boss. What are you doing out here working with the average people? But it's kind of, but I didn't see any of the gun collective guys. I didn't see Hickok and his son, even though they were there. I didn't see the We Like Shooting guys. So
were you
there was
there when
a
the president was there, or
no, him
no?
or Pence. No, I wasn't. No, but when we were there, as the scuttlebutt came down about, they asked LaPierre to step down, and he told them no, and then turned right around, and everybody's talking about Oliver North says he's not going to go for another term, and now look what's happened. So how quickly we were all thinking that sometime this week there was going to be some sort of announcement that the board of directors was going to vote out LaPierre, but instead what they do, they voted him in and kicked out North, and it's a mess. So
Well, like I mentioned in last week's show, corruption is part of the human condition, and so if any organization that has hundreds of millions of dollars up for grabs, a charitable organization, a gun rights organization, a government organization, a corporate organization, a business, there's going to be corruption. It's just that's the way human beings work. I mean, so uh, if politicians, there's going to be politicians who try and take advantage of that for political reasons, just like there's when there was shooting at the synagogue, the people in the media wanted to take advantage of that and blame Trump. There's corruption everywhere, so it doesn't surprise me. I mean, there's hundreds of $1 million up for grabs and all. I mean, NRA is a huge organization, and it doesn't surprise me that there's some corruption at all, because it's run by human beings, and that's just how human beings work.
a lot of people are saying burn down the NRA or get rid of Chris Cox and Wayne LaPierre, and it's like, okay, all right, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I say come up with term limits. No more being the executive vice president of the NRA for 30 freaking years. And the reason I say that is so we don't end up with a Wayne LaPierre situation and a Chris Cox situation. But the reason Wayne LaPierre and Chris Cox are where they are isn't just their corruption and isn't just the fact that they're money grubbing. These guys are politicians, and the NRA deals with politicians. If you put some beatnik grassroots asshole in there who does what we want, the people who buy their memberships a year at a time, and you send him up to Capitol Hill to fight for our rights, they won't take him seriously. But some d-bag like LaPierre and Cox, he looks, smells, walks, talks like a politician. He's one of them. So unfortunately, whoever we would get to replace them, they've got to still live the lifestyle and walk the walk and talk the talk of the politician, or the politicians will not take them seriously. So whoever is in those positions will eventually become corrupt if they're not corrupt from the get-go. That's why term limits, I think, are some of the best thing we could do as far as making changes to the NRA. I'm also thinking that if the board of directors asked him for his resignation and then turned around and voted him in, we need to blow out the board of directors. I know there's a lot of people don't want Adam Kraut in there. I want Adam Kraut in there. So that's just my opinion.
Well, I don't have a lot of inside baseball information on the NRA, but just as a regular person and a member, I mean, I bought a 5-year membership renewal I think a couple years ago. So whatever they do, I'm in for another 3. But there's other organizations. If this one doesn't float your boat, there's GOA, FPC, Second Amendment Foundation. There's a lot. Florida Carry. There's a lot of good organizations out there that you can support that take legal action also again to support our Bill of Rights and our Second Amendment rights. And you're not just stuck with the NRA if you don't like it, but I'm not going to bail on the NRA just because there's some corruption in it.
Right. No, I think that if we leave the NRA, then we can't vote the board of directors out, so that we can get a new board of directors in there to get rid of LaPierre and Cox. And I understand for some people that's a pretty, tough pill to swallow, but it's the reality of it. Now I realize I could just be corrupt and just say, your vote doesn't count, but whatever. The other thing about that is I think that the more gun rights groups that all of us are members of and maintain our memberships, the better. I want to see all the federal groups, the big groups, the 2AF and GOA and FPC and all that, get as big as the NRA, so that the politicians don't go, oh crap, here comes the NRA. They go, oh crap, here comes 4 of them. Even if they all kind of do a different job. They all kind of approach it from a different angle. And if all of them had 5 million, 10 million, 15 million members, just think of how afraid the politicians would be of gun owners at that point. Right now, the only ones they listen to are the NRA. The GOA goes in there and they go, who the hell are these guys? The 2AF goes in there and they go, who the hell are these guys? Now, it's not to say that they don't do a good job, but all these people are like, burn down the NRA and join the GOA. Well, there's 2 things. One, if you put all your money into the GOA and take it out of the NRA, the GOA will become the NRA as far as the corruption. And 2, okay, nobody knows who the GOA is. The only reason anybody even knows who they are in our community lately is because of all the back and forth traffic on YouTube about them. Okay, the politicians still don't know who they are. It's going to be a while. I would like to see all these organizations have millions and millions of members, and the politicians just not know what to do, because
I know Harry Reid knew who the GOA was.
Yeah.
That's when I joined the NRA, was when Harry Reid said the NRA is bad, but the NRA is terrible, but the GOA is really, really bad. And that's when I joined the GOA. There was a meme to that effect too.
Well, the thing is, though, there's just a lot of people repeating what other people are saying, and I'm not going to tell you you have to do what the hell you want. It's your money. Make your own decisions, but make your own decisions. Don't just listen to the Yankee Marshal and go, well, I'm just going to do what he does. Okay,
I'm not going to take the Yankee Marshall bait tonight.
There's lots of people that are just, somebody gets on YouTube and says something, and that's it. That's just the way it is. And you got a lot of people tearing Hickok up, and I don't really think they're giving the guy the benefit of the doubt.
What did he
A
do?
lot of people, oh, he is, the NRA sponsors him amongst other. He's got several sponsors, and he's pro NRA. But if you listen to him, and I don't mean listen to him for 30 seconds and then click the off button. I mean listen to him when he does these 30-minute or hour-long talk, and listen to the words he says. He's not a shill. He's not a shill. The NRA does have a place in our community, but a lot of people don't want to see that because they're just reacting with emotion, just like the anti-gunners that want to take away your freedom are reacting with emotion. If you want to act like the people that are going to take away your freedom, you're really no better than them. Slow down, calm down, think for yourself, make your decisions, but just understand this. The more gun rights groups that you are a member of, the more influence, not just you, but everybody, the more influence that we as a community can put into these groups that are supposed to be fighting for us. And just because a group doesn't do it the way you want to do it doesn't mean they're not doing the right thing. There are some groups that go after court cases. There are some groups that pay off politicians. There are some groups that are about organization and education, and they all do something different. And if you look at the way some of the people in our community are, we all have different ways that we fight for the Second Amendment, right? I don't write a whole lot of letters and emails because I did that in the past and they don't do shit. But I know people that just think that is the way to do it. I go to frickin' rallies. Other people go, I can't go to rallies. Okay, so I'm doing my thing, you're doing your thing. We're both doing something for it. And there's all these people that say, well, we all need to be on the same page and do the exact same thing. We're all too strong-willed to do that. There are some things some of you guys want me to do that I am not about to do. And there's other things that I think that would be a good idea that some of you guys are not willing to do. Our gun rights organizations are exactly the same as us. So that's why I think it's a good idea to be a member of as many as possible. And when they're not doing what you want, make your voice heard, but understand that sometimes it's their strategy. And if you think that the corruption and the money is limited to the NRA, you got to be kidding me, right? So.
Well, they got more money, so they got more corruption. But slow down. Take some Reds, smoke a joint, take some CBD gummies, or do whatever you got to do. Calm down, and whenever all the corruption gets exposed into sunlight and somebody's got to go to jail for a while, okay, and then we can get back to doing what we're all about, which is just talking about guns, freedom, and the truth until dawn. Or, I mean, some of us have to work in the morning, so I could stay here all night. But it's, yeah, I would say go to Shooter's Paradise. It's a great place. I think Corsair said he's been there. I like the air-conditioned indoor shooting ranges because we don't have one here. But I like a lot of the gun, but when I first joined gun channels, I really like to follow the court cases. So I know which groups are involved in the court cases.
Here's a good example. Here's two people. We both fight for the Second Amendment, but we have strong opinions. He doesn't like Adam Kraut, and I don't like James Yeager. But we're both still fighting for the Second Amendment.
Yes, well, war makes strange bedfellows. So anyway, let's see. I'm going to try and do some camping out in the not too distant future and do some bushcraft. And lately it's been raining a lot here. So if I do some camping out, I imagine it's going to be a wet camp. I got some new shoes. I sent some people who are in my text some emails. It was Recondo, base Recondo jungle assault boots, and they're pretty cool. They're not waterproof, so I'm probably going to get some silicone spray, which isn't like the perfect solution. They're either waterproof or they're not, and these aren't. But the price was right because they were on sale. It was like Sportsman's Guide had them for like it was like $80 plus I had a $10 coupon. It was like on clearance. The Recondo boots were on clearance sale, and I got them in a size that fit, and they've got a lot of good features. And they're very lightweight because they have instead of like basically it's like a 500 Nra Cordura upper, so it's just like it's really strong, but it's like paper thin, so it's lightweight instead of like a full leather or some kind of plastic form mold. It's just really lightweight Cordura, and so I think somebody said that the most important thing about boots is lightweight, waterproof, and comfort. So I'm not an expert on it, but I'll let you know how that goes. They fit great. They look great. I can't wait to break them in. Let's see. It's raining pretty hard outside today, right now in Kona. Not too much has been going on around here lately. Let's see, we got a new bomb squad on the Big Island, which I don't think we really need, but federal government paid for it. There was a stabbing down at Punaluu Beach, where I think I did a video of Punaluu Beach. 2 persons went to the hospital. 1 person was killed, and suspects are in custody. Not too much really going on. It's a small, slow town. Big Island, small town. Not too much happening other than these really dumb gun bills. So I like when I signed up for gun channels. I was really into just following every court case and every filing, and I read every filing and every Second Amendment court case that I could get my hands on, because that was what I was into. So as a result, yeah, I really like the Second Amendment Foundation like almost the best, and but I've come to realize that I think that power of freedom isn't going to be. Our freedoms aren't protected by the courts. They're protected by the free people, the citizens. And a lot of the courts won't follow the Constitution. Maybe the Supreme Court will in the end, but they don't really even want to hear Second Amendment cases. So when it comes right down to it, if somebody like Kamala Harris got elected, or Joe Biden got elected and then died, and Kamala Harris became president, and then she tried to ban every gun in America, to turn them in or go to jail, it just wouldn't work, because this is a free country, and the people that live here have spent their whole life being free. And it would, I think everybody would scratch their heads and go, huh? And then just go on about their business, and that's not a law that would get enforced. It's not even a law if she wants to ban bring just all on her own without any voted in Congress, reinstitute an assault weapons ban without actually anybody having voted for one in Congress, just because the president says so, which is the problem that I have with Trump and the whole bump stock ban. Just because the president tells the ATF to rule that a bump stock is a machine gun, and so it's banned. Whatever happens in the Supreme Court, whether they agree with it or it's not a machine gun. A bump stock is not a machine gun. Neither is my pencil a machine gun. Okay, neither is my belt loop a machine gun. But I could use my belt at least to bump fire a semi-auto rifle, but they're not going to ban belt loops or belts, which probably a belt would make a better weapon than a bump stock. It's more dangerous because you could block strikes and you could choke somebody with it, but or you could use it to just slap them in the face with the use it as a whip and go Indiana Jones on him and slap him in the head with the buckle. Anyway, so that's for everybody who's into improvised weapons. Saw that in a kung fu movie once. I really love watching outtakes from Ip Man, if you're into kung fu movies. That shit is awesome. But yeah, that's another one I look on Amazon and I want to buy like the trilogy, but basically it says it's just a pirated, I mean, it's a Chinese movie about Chinese kung fu, but the stuff they sell on Amazon is all bootleg. It's not, there's nothing actually from the manufacturer. So it's like all screwed up. But man, if I could actually buy the whole trilogy for it, man, I'd buy that. But apparently all the stuff on Amazon is bootleg, but it's from China and they do a lot of bootleg there anyway. It's like their whole industry is, their whole economy is based on stealing stuff from America, but now they're even stealing stuff from China and selling it on Amazon. So it's whatever. I'll be happy to get some silicone spray for my boots off there. I mean, I think the best thing about Amazon is I usually buy lots of my number 10 cans of Mountain House for my pantry emergency food storage. So I don't know what else to talk about on this show. I know in the pre-chat you were saying something about people who don't understand the car industry complain about it, but maybe you can explain this to me because I never understand how they can just claim cars as being sold when they're just shipping them to a car lot. And they can just stack up a car lot full of acres and acres of just cars that haven't sold. They're just sitting in the lot, but they'll be listed as sold because they ship from the factory. But they're just sitting on a lot. And I was watching, it made me think, so what made me think of this question was because I was watching a lot of commercials on YouTube, old commercials about Cal Worthington and his dog Spot. I loved those commercials when I was growing up. He used to be on the TV. I don't know if you ever seen that because he was a California car salesman. He was in the military and he sold one of his cars, I think, in Texas to somebody, and then he became a professional car salesman. And he was always on the TV and selling cars, and he would always have a dog that wasn't a dog as his dog Spot, and he would, whether it was a lion or a tiger or an elephant or a seal, and it was always, the commercials were always, come on down, Cal Worthington dealer, and see my dog Spot. And it was literally acres and acres of cars, but how can you say they're all sold if they're just sitting on a lot? It doesn't make any sense to me. It's just monkeying with the numbers.
Dude, I don't sell them. I just build them.
Well, that's a easy out.
I mean, I don't like to buy them off the lot. I like to order them. My next one, I'm probably just going to buy off the lot, though. So, got to bite the bullet on that one.
Yeah, so I was watching like all these, and it's funny because it was like from these commercials. If you look at Cal Worthington on YouTube, he like actually look at some of the commercials and they show all the prices of the cars back in '77 or something. And yeah, it's amazing how the prices have changed. But it's just you see all these old cars and the prices on them. And but the music was funny. Cal Worthington was just great. I mean, he passed away, I think, a few years ago, but at 96 years old. But I used to grow up watching those commercials on TV all the time. So seeing them on YouTube was kind of funny. And anyway, all right. So any other gun stuff? Did you buy anything at the NRA show?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, I got a few things. There were some vendors selling stuff, but most of it was just demos. And, you couldn't buy. Some of them had stuff set up like it would look like a shelf or a wall or something at a gun store where they got product hanging up, and you're like, how much for this? Oh, these aren't for sale. Then why do you got 3 of them on a hook? But yeah, I picked up a couple things. I actually bought a membership to the Second Amendment Foundation while I was there. Irony.
Cool.
So, yeah.
But you're never going to get a Glock or anything like that, right?
One of these days I'm gonna get a Glock, a used one, just to have a freaking Glock, and it'd be like, all right, I got one of these pieces of crap, whatever.
Pieces of crap.
Pieces of crap. So.
Well, I like my Glock, but anyway. So did you have fun? And how many gun channels members did you meet, or YouTube guys did you meet that you knew?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Wow. Yeah, 16 gun channels members. So, yeah.
Wow, that's a lot.
That's the most I've met at once. I mean, but I mean, some of them I had met before. So it was like, hey, I haven't seen you in a while, and and then other people's I've talked to them. I don't know how many times, and finally get to, shake hands or do whatever, and we all pulled out our gun channels patches and took, you stick your hands out and everybody took a picture of their hands, and the short people are really straining to get their hands in there, but yeah, it was pretty good. It was pretty good.
Short
But
people.
then, yeah, oh yeah, because if you're in a big circle and everybody's sticking their arms, their hand in there to try to get in the center, and then somebody's putting a camera over the top to take a picture, and there's, Gun Snob's got his GoPro on a stick, and he says, GoPro, take picture, and then the flash goes off. It's like, okay, whatever. But he loves his camera stuff. He was wearing cameras all over his body. He had like this rig, and he had a camera stacked on top of a camera, and he had a boom mic and a selfie stick, and I don't know if he had like more crap in the bag, and it's just like, damn, dude. But there was lots of people, taking pictures and filming and doing interviews. I did a couple interviews. I was surprised. I was like, man, if I can just get one vendor to do an interview, that would be great, because not really like I'm trying to build a channel and become famous or anything like that, but it's like, well, okay, that's something I haven't done yet, doing videos, right? So I got a couple of them. I have to go through the footage and see what I can put out there, but if one of them, the video footage is good enough, then that'll work for me. So I just wanted to do it just to do it.
Bottom line, was it fun?
Oh, absolutely. I didn't think it was going to be that much fun. I didn't think I'd get to actually spend that much time talking to that many vendors. I didn't think I would get to meet that many Gun Channels members at once, or be together with them at once. The drive was not that bad. It was 5 hours one way. Just a few minor things went wrong. I had some technical issues on the way there and on the way home, but overall, I mean, it was enough for me. Having never done it, it was enough for me to say I definitely want to do this again. So. Hello? Did it freeze up?
Probably not tonight. But
Did I freeze up?
yeah, you froze up. You said you started talking about technical difficulties, and as soon as you said technical difficulties, just dropped out.
I ended up with okay. Yeah, so I had some technical difficulties driving down. I had some technical difficulties driving back, but other than that, it was it was a really good experience. Good time. 5 hours one way. It's not too bad. Jesse James is out there talking about driving downtown. Dude, downtown Indianapolis ain't crap. Actually, honestly, if you blindfolded me and took the blindfold off and said, "Where are you?" I would have said Columbus. Downtown Indianapolis, with the exception of the canal, looks just like Columbus, Ohio, and it was. I mean, hell, even Pittsburgh wasn't that bad. So the first parking structure I went to, now I decided to park further away than the other Gun Channels members because I was not paying $38 to park for the day. So I went to a parking structure further away, and the gates were shut. They were locked. So I backed out, and I went down right down to the next one block over. Gates were shut. Oh, shit. All right, I back out, go to the third one. It lets me in. It's even cheaper. As the further I got away, the cheaper. I was 6/10 of a mile from the show. It was nothing to walk 6/10 of a mile. I parked on the second deck, took the stairs down, 6/10 of a mile to walk. It took no time at all to get to the show. It was less than 5 minutes to register because I didn't pre-register. I mean, it really wasn't that big of a deal. And then when I went to go leave, $11, and I'm out. So I mean, it wasn't that bad, but at first they were saying, we parked 3/10 of a mile from the show, and it was $38 to park for the day. And I'm going, 38? That's crazy. I think I paid at both the Lansing rallies. I think I paid $5 for the day, and I think Columbus, Ohio, for the Ohio rally, I paid $12. Pittsburgh, I think I paid $12. So this was $11. 6/10 of a mile is nothing. So.
Okay, so you got some little bit of exercise. My experience with conventions is walking the floor. You get all the fucking walking you need to last you a lifetime.
And that's just it. I got home between 1 and 2. I got home, got everything out of the truck, and got to bed. And the next day, I think I slept until 9, and I got up, and we ran errands in the morning, and then we took the dog for a walk. So we went on a 3.3-mile walk with the dog, and I was still doing good. It wasn't until I got to work this afternoon that suddenly I just felt tired, and I said, "Oh, it took that long to catch up to me." So the long drive, well, I mean, 5 hours isn't that long of a drive, but 5-hour drive, the 7 hours of walking, 5-hour drive, and then the 3.3-mile walk, and yeah. So, but still, I mean, it's good to still be able to do that. I suppose if I had issues, then it would be a whole different story. But in downtown Indianapolis, they have scooters that you can rent, electric scooters. You put an app on your phone, you load up the app with your credit card, minimum of $10. It's $1 to start the scooter and 29 cents a minute or something like that. And these things are all over the place. I mean, you just take it to wherever you want and just leave it there. And then the next person comes up and just off the and there were a bunch of young people, and everybody had backpacks and was walking all over the place, and there were apartments everywhere. You could tell that if you lived down there, you lived an entirely different lifestyle than what I'm used to. You don't need a car, and you don't but I mean, there was just stuff out there. It was really geared towards a younger community, and just having all these, it was weird, these scooters, and I took
Sounds
some
like
pictures.
some weird college town or something.
Yeah, it kind of was. But actually, it wouldn't be a place that would be too bad to take the wife for the weekend, because they had some nice restaurants downtown and some nice hotels, and I didn't feel unsafe at all walking around. I mean, I live right outside of Detroit, so you're gonna have to pretty much bring it if you want to intimidate me, I guess. But it wasn't filthy. It wasn't.
I saw something that said Detroit had a lot of stray dogs.
I guess, I don't know. They got a
Eventually
bunch of trash in the street.
Eventually the dogs group up and form a pack and prey upon individuals. So anyway,
Yeah, Jesse James, the traffic was not, it was non-existent. It really was. The expressway was worse because you Google will say merge onto this. So you merge on, then you have about a half mile to merge onto the other one, and it's all the way over in the far left. So you got to speed up and cut in front of people. But then once you get, like I got off on Ohio Street and I went down, uh, I want to say 3/4 of a mile and then turned, and then I started hopping from parking structure to parking structure. Really, it wasn't that bad. It really wasn't. It wasn't like stop and go and you're driving for half an hour straight and you're only covering a couple miles. I mean, I was from the time I got off the expressway to the time I got out of the truck was what, 10 minutes. So, and that's with me going to 3 different parking garages before I found one that was open. So there's nothing to it. Really was nothing to it. So I don't know how Nashville is going to be next year, but I want to go to Nashville. So, and I've driven through Nashville, but I've never been in downtown Nashville. But I mean, it can't be that bad. So.
Oh, maybe you'll run into Mike Helton, and he's not chopping wood anymore. He's out of that business. So,
Nice.
I should do the I should geek out with my film thing about Babyface that I watched last night. Barbara Stanwyck film from 1933, and then I'll wrap the show. But it was this 1933 film, and if anybody remembers Barbara Stanwyck, I first saw it. The first thing I saw with Barbara Stanwyck in it was a Western TV show called The Big Valley. And it had Lee Majors in it, and where Barbara Stanwyck played the elder matriarch of the Barclays family, but in this 1933 black and white film, Babyface, it was basically a Daryl Zanuck film for Fox, I think, and she plays a manipulative little. Well, she starts out the background is she's a girl, and her father owns a speakeasy, and he just uses her as a waitress, and he basically sells her ass. He basically pimps her out pretty much, and she hates her father. And they're one of the old guys, not the usual crowd at the speakeasy, gives her a book on human psychology by Nietzsche, who's this German philosopher, and he basically says, you don't have to stay and work where you are. You have, instead of letting men use you however they want, he said, basically the line from the book was, Nietzsche says life is exploitation. So instead of letting them use you, you go do what you want and you use them. So Barbara Stanwyck's character, Lily Powers, in this movie, goes through and uses sex as a weapon and seduces and uses every man in the film. I think John Wayne had a bit role. She uses and dumps him in like 2 scenes. But so basically she plays a devious little sex pot that just uses men ruthlessly, and climbs to the top of gets a job in a banking building, and eventually is it's a fun movie, and if you've ever seen Barbara Stanwyck, it's not like any role. But what was really funny about it is that this film was pretty much this was put out before the Film Censorship Board. They tried to ban this film. There's no sex in the movie. She just seduces guys and uses them ruthlessly. But they tried to ban it, and then they insisted that before it was released in a movie theater, they cut out the last 4 minutes or something for some reason, which I don't even understand. And so they actually found a print that hadn't been cut, like what they were just forming the Film Censorship Board, and so they could actually have the entire original movie. And it had been basically put in the vault and forgotten about. But it was a great movie, and you just never see Barbara Stanwyck in that kind of a role. But besides, she was so very young in this movie, and she made a really good blonde sex pot, which you wouldn't think about if you'd only seen her in The Big Valley, which was this. She played an old lady in that one, and but obviously she was an actress who was acting. It's not who she was, but it was a really fun movie to watch. And so if you're into black and white stuff, maybe you can find it on Netflix. I saw it on TCM last night. Babyface, 1933. It's a good movie. Anyway, so there's my film noir geek out for this week. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'll try and make it on one of Corsair's live streams again. I think I had tuned in, and I kind of like fell asleep waiting for the show to start, one of the shows to start. But he just started doing them, so I'll catch him on the next one, maybe. And everybody, keep fighting for freedom. We've got to get to the chopper. So we'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in so very, very much. God bless America. Keep fighting. Never stop fighting.